Alrighty, so today I want to take a look at the Rebels, both the clean Rebel and then the rusty Rebel. Um, the Rebel that's clean has four extras on it. Um, the first extra is the bull bar, which this one currently has. You can see it right here in the front. The second and the fourth extra is actually connected to extra number 3, which is this roll bar in the back. Extra number 2 is the bull bar with the lights on it. And extra number 3 is also lights on the roll bar as well. But what's really interesting is extra 1 and 2 and 4 are all connected to extra number 3. Hey guys, how you doing? Um, Today we're just taking a look at the Rebel. It's been a while. I did a couple of test streams earlier in the week, and now I'm trying to be more consistent with the streaming. Um, I've been first week since I've moved. I actually at my real job, so unfortunately YouTube has been taking a little bit of a aside as I'm getting adjusted to my new home and all that. Um, but it's nice to see everyone here. Hopefully a couple more people will jump in. But like I said, for right now, we're just looking at extras on the Rebel. If there's anything else you guys rather see, just let me know, and then we can switch off of that. But right now, we're just taking a look at the Rebel. I was just saying that extras 1, 2, and 4 are actually all connected to extra number 3, which is very bizarre because for some reason this bull bar will not show up on this Rebel unless this roll bar is here. So I don't know, that's kind of interesting. Don't quite know what the logic with that is. Some of these early cars have some really interesting um, little interesting things on them. But anyway, so extra 1 is this bull bar right here. Extra number 2 is the bull bar, but it has the lights. We'll take a look at that in a second. And then extra 4 is actually the lights on this roll bar in the back. So let's begin with making a full Rebel. Yeah, so like I said, right now the streams is pretty much just for you guys. I'm bored. I enjoy playing GTA, but it's very difficult because it's very redundant and pretty boring now. So the fun I get out of GTA is trying to help other people. Merging and extras is the one thing that I take a lot of pride in. So that's where I feel like I can do the most help to people. But like I said, if there's anything in particular you want to see, just let me know. I'm just trying to do merges that a lot of people get results, but they don't know why. So I'm trying to explain the whys. But for the Rebel, since it has 4 extras, the Panto has 5 extras. So technically the Panto can help make a lot of variants of the Rebel. So let's just bring in the Panto to the mechanic and make sure it's properly set up so we can get all the variants for the Rebel. I also will be taking a look at the Rusty Rebel. The Rusty Rebel is a lot easier because there's only 2 variants. And then I just realized that I just froze my character. Give me 1 second. That's what I really dislike about LSCM. If you bring a car to the mechanic and then you go to bring the car again to the mechanic, it'll freeze you every time. And since I technically am glitched out, I can't really do anything about getting unglitched because you can't use the start menu. So let me correct that right now. All right. So I'm not going to bring it to the mechanic, and I'm not going to leave LCM just because of how annoying that is at the moment. But just going over the Panto real quick, as long as you can see the fenders, that's extra number 1. As long as you can see the roof, it's extra number 2. As long as you see the tailgate, it's extra number 3. And I believe the back bumper is extra number 4, but let me confirm that. And if you don't know, the very top of the screen is just taking a look at the car and its extra numbers. So for here, extra number 4 is the rear bumper. So as long as that's visible, there won't be any issues there. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm just going to merge that onto the Rebel. So as you look on the top right here, we're going to get a Rebel that has the bull bar. The second bull bar of lights, it'll have the roll cage, and it'll also have the lights on that roll cage. So let's start that merge right now. Love merging. Sometimes takes a little bit longer than I like, but this is still a very easy merge, so I don't mind doing it in real time. The reason why it's an easy merge is pretty much as long as you're glitched, you don't have to keep getting re-glitched. So that's why this is a particularly hard one. I mean, there have been ones where it takes 20 minutes to do one merge, and that's just not worth it. Alright, let's get kicked out. No, I mean, for the most part, the only time I ever have issues getting glitched out is if, whatever reason, Anahuac is having some issues. I don't know of any hot fixes going on today, but it is an update day, so who knows, maybe there's some issues on that end. What kind of issues and what platform are you on? This is Xbox Series S, so it's working fine as you can see so far. I mean, it's the first time I'm actually merging today, so let me know if there has been any other issues. And as always, it's always fun having tank commands on a frozen screen, but it's really not that hard. But let's get my luxury helicopter ready. Like, where are you having issues with the merge? Is it just getting the actual glitch at the arena, or is it somewhere else along the line? Hey, buddy. So I don't really want to say your name so much because I don't know. I don't think I'll get in trouble for it. But is there something else I can call you? I really don't want to call you like BMHO. So is there a better name to refer to you as? So are you which Anahuacs are you using? Are you using Anahuacs XX or the YouTube one? Because the YouTube one is what you do to pretty much stay glitched, and it'll bring you out of, you know, the frozen state. Yeah, so on the Xbox, my characters here don't have a lot of friends saved, so it doesn't really take that much time, so I'm not that concerned about it. So you're using XS first, right? Because that's what will help you get glitched out. You having a problem doing the glitch with the job?
How do you choose between your children? Your personal vehicle is being brought up now.
I mean, I could always unglitch myself to, you know, just show you again. But I mean, so far, you know, it seems like it's running pretty good for me. The only time I ever have issues with it is if I can't hear the booms with the audio, then sometimes my timing is off. So sometimes I actually get pulled into the job. But I didn't have any issues so far today with it. But I could always just, you know, redo it again. I mean, are you using the job that's right across the window at the arena, or are you using a different job? Because I think on some jobs there might be an issue with it, but like I said, I haven't had any problems with it at all. Alright, so we're making a Rebel that has all four of the extras on, and we're about to see what that looks like right now. Alright, so not surprised, there are the four extras right there. What I'm going to do is I'm going to start with the extra that always has to be on the car no matter what, which is extra number 3, and that's just the roll bar. And then again, if you don't have this roll bar here activated, all the other extras that we're looking at will not function correctly. They won't show up, which is bizarre because extra number 1 is just this little bull bar behind the second bull bar. And then extra number 2 is that little bull bar right there with, I guess, like the lights with the cover on them. And then extra number 4 is just the actual lights on top of the roll bar. So, I mean, you can still kind of get kind of creative with the actual look of the Rebel, but unfortunately, you're always going to have one with that roll bar in the back. Um, Everything missing is kind of cool, so I don't mind that so much. But what we'll do now is I will try to do one with maybe with all the lights on, and I'll remove that first bull bar that's closest to the car itself. So let's get pulled back into LCM. Yeah, so when you're doing the timing, I'm not exactly sure because like if you do it too fast, you will freeze the Xbox. If you're doing it too slow, it looks like it works for a second, then it pulls you into the job. The timing is you have to listen for the 3 booms, and on what would be the 4th boom, you kind of just start spamming the A button, and then it should just bring you right down pretty fast, and shouldn't have any issues. I can try to demonstrate both fails, but let's just make one more Rebel first, and then we'll mix it up. We'll use one with F1 wheels this time. And then let's see which Rebel I can make. Because Panto is great as a donor, but because of how the extras work on the Panto, I can't make every single variant because I cannot remove the 4th extra, which is the bumper on this one. So basically every variant of the Rebel is going to have the lights on that back bull bar. So let's take a look. I said I wanted to remove the front bull bar. So with the fenders missing from the Panto, that will be the case. That's extra number 1 is deactivated. And I see the roof is missing, but I want to put that back on. So right now, if I was to merge this Panto onto the clean Rebel, it won't have any extras on. And if you look at the top of the screen, it shows you that that's what child of extra number 3 means. Extra number 3 means it has to always be there or none of the extras will work. So basically right now, with extra number 3 being missing, it wouldn't do anything. So I'm going to glitch it back on, and all I want to do is remove extra number 2, which is the hood. I'm sorry, the roof. And I'm just going to do the flick trick. If I can hit it. There we go. Alrighty. So right now, only extra 3 and 4 are activated. So if I would to merge this onto the Rebel, it would have the roll cage with the lights on top. But let's put the roof back on. So now we'll have the bull bar with lights and then the lights on the roll cage. And of course, there we go. Let's back out. There we go. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do this merge here, and then what I'll try to do is show what failed glitching out at the arena looks like, because I know you said that was the issue you were having. and then I'll try to change my volume so you can hear things better. But let's get this merge going. And like I said, if you rather see something besides the Rebel, let me know. But I know, like way back when, the Rebel was pretty popular, and a lot of people are asking me about that. So that's why I'm doing it right now. But I mean, were you able to do the merge prior, or are you just having a particular issue with it today? All right, 4, 3, 2. Okay, let's back out, and let's go join Anahuac. Okay, and as always, the fun part. Let's go find our Sparrow while locked in the screen. Yeah, it just sounds like your timing's off. But after this one, we'll look at it closer, and then maybe you can let me know what you're seeing, and then we can kind of troubleshoot it together then. Well, that's one way that can happen. What car were you trying to merge? Oh, okay. So, all right. When you were joining XS, you were having that sort of issue then. Yeah, I mean, that wouldn't shock me. I mean, were you locking up your Xbox? Was that the problem you were facing? Hey, Sniper, how you doing? We're just kind of messing around with the Rebel. It's not a lot of people here, so I'm more focused on like issues that someone else is having. If there's anything in particular that you want to address, let me know. Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, been doing more streaming just because it's hard to make those videos, and I pretty much over the last 3 months have been moving from Long Island to Ohio, so there was a lot of computers not available. I didn't really even have, and my Xbox is available,
What can I do for you?
so right now just more or less focus on the streaming, just because it's easier just to put out a quick stream than trying to
They're bringing your
create a
personal
full
vehicle
video.
around right now.
Hey Daniel, welcome back. Oh, you're trying to transfer plates. What? I mean, what plate style were you trying to transfer? Because obviously you're not doing the vanity plate. You're just doing the plate type. I'm guessing. Because if you're trying to do the vanity plate, you would need to be doing like give cards to friends, kind of mixed with Beth a little bit there. I don't know of too many other methods right now for changing vanity plates. But right now, we're going to be getting a Rebel that has extra number 1 removed. So it's going to have the bull bar with lights, and it's going to have the roll cage with the lights on top of it. And then after that, we're going to get unglitched. Hey, yeah, we're still messing around. Hope everything's good with you. Um, really tired. This is one of those, like, had a 10-hour day today, and my whole body's hurting. My voice is very, like, I don't know. The weather out here is very weird. I just feel, I don't know, like I constantly need to be drinking water. So talking right now, it's like I can feel my throat. It's getting very clammy. But yeah, so as we can kind of see right here, we do have extra number 2, which is the like lights attached to the bull bar, the ones that are covered up. Get out of the way so people don't hit me. And then number 3 is just the roll cage, and then number 4 is with those lights covered on top. And again, you can only get these as long as extra number 3, the roll bar, is visible. If it's not there, nothing will show. So it would be cool just to get the bull bar, but unfortunately, that's not possible. Yeah, I'm trying to figure out if he's trying to do different plate styles or if he's trying to do the actual vanity part of the plate. I think he's just doing plate styles though. But all right, so what I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna get unglitched, so I can try to show or figure out the issue that he was having. So let me just rejoin Anahuac just to get unglitched. Oh, okay. So you're trying to do yeah. So that won't work with this. Um, I mean, what is going to end up happening is like if your donor has the plate name that you want to transfer, that won't work with this. That plate name is already going to have to be on the car that you want to transfer it to, because it won't affect that, but it will take all the other information from the donor car. Yeah, so what he is probably gonna have to do, he's probably gonna have to do the give cards to friends at um, the penthouse, the casino, and then once he gets the plate on the car that way, um, that's probably gonna be one of the better methods. But even then, he's just duplicating the same car, so that's probably not exactly what he's looking for. But anyway, let me just get unglitched. Actually, I am unglitched, so let's get re-glitched so we can take a look at that. And then I'll bring up the game audio so you can hear the booms a little bit better. All right, so I'm ready to get glitched. Let's bring up the audio. Be a little bit louder for a second. Okay, so you already know which NOx you're going to join. So let's just get that primed. So you're just going to hover over the job. You're not going to do anything else, but we're going to go now join Anahuac XS. All right. So again, we are currently in assisted aim. This one is in bad sport free aim. That's why we're using it. Okay. So on the very first message, you're just going to hit yes. And then on the job alert message, what you got to do here is quickly hit A and then very quickly followed by X. If you do it incorrectly, let's say I just hit A now, it's just going to bring you up like this. This is how you know you're doing it too fast. But I'll show you what it looks like if you're doing it too slow. So once again, I'm just going to join Anahuac XS. All right, accept the first. We're waiting on the second. So I am going to very quickly now hit A and X, but I'm going to let the booms go for too long. 4, 5, 6. Oh, okay. Well, I guess my timing was still pretty good anyway. But yeah, so what I'm going to do is, one more time, is going to unglitch myself. So what error message were you getting when you were trying to join? You were not getting to the point where you can even come down from the clouds? Are you still stuck on the map? What was the issue you were having? Yeah, I know it's hard. Trying to troubleshoot in chat is not always the best option. All right, so I'm on the message. I'm gonna quickly hit A followed by X. And I think I'm really badly glitched right now. Hold on. Okay, so that's more or less what the problem was then. Right, let me fully join him again, just to so I get re-glitched again. Yeah, sometimes, you know, if you really get that frustrated with it, I would tell you just like, you know what, either like hard reboot GTA or just join another session. It really probably won't mean much, but sometimes if you're getting really frustrated, just take like a 2-second break and then just get refocused and go at it again. Oh, okay, the network error was the issue. But yeah, I know there's been times where like you go to join Anahuac, and then for some reason, even though you're in an assistant aim, it's still kind of like somehow puts you into a free aim. So I don't know what's going on with that sometimes. 3, 4, spam A. There we go. And I'm not pulled into a job, so everything's good. Just gonna go over the window, hit right in the D-pad, and spectate, and then we're just gonna join Anahuac YouTube. Yeah, if you do it too quickly, like if you do it like on the third boom, I think that's when you might get pulled up into the job. I get confused on the different fails, but I know earlier on I was having that problem, like why am I getting pulled into a job? Alright, so this time I'm going to try to use a different car on the Rebel, so I can show you. You know what? We'll remove everything, and I'll show you why the roll cage always has to be on, and if it's missing, the results you get. So let's pull out another Panto, and then this time I'm going to make sure that extra number 3 is deactivated on it to show you why it's required.
What do you need, boss? Some wheels? I can bring them around.
Let's pull it out.
It's coming at you.
And let's go find it about the mini-map, which is always fun.
Hey, you play with those new tester cars yet?
And then by now, I mean, I probably said it like 100 times on stream, but we'll go over the extras on the Panto. So extra number 1, the Panto, is the fenders. For this scenario, I'm gonna leave it on. So in theory, the Rebel should have the bull bar now. But what I'm going to intentionally do is I'm going to remove the tailgate, which is extra number 3, which would be the roll cage on the Rebel. Now, I'm going to do the flip trick, and I'm going to be taking off extra number 2 with number 3, but that doesn't really matter for this part. And then it's gone. So number 2 and number 3 are missing. And then remember, number 3 on the Rebel is that roll cage. And then that roll cage is required to get all the other extras to work. So even though that the fenders are on, which is extra number 1, which would be the bull bar, this will not merge the bull bar because the extra number 3 is the roll cage, and all the other extras are the child of extra number 3, which means that extra number 3 has to be there for extra 1, 2, or 4 to work. So let's purposely fail this merge to demonstrate that. And I'm not sure how clear that Excel doc is on the top of the screen. I mean, I'm looking on my computer, it seems like it's okay, but hopefully that's kind of showing what I'm trying to explain. Let's continue with the merge. And then what I'll do is I'll switch to the Rusty Rebel next, unless someone wants to see something else instead. This Yosemite Rancher is actually very interesting too. I could also go over that a little bit, explain its extras, because believe it or not, it's the glass in the windows. I don't know, I thought that's kind of a kooky part of extras. Alright, let's go join Anahuac. Alrighty. And let's go find the Sparrow. As always, I feel like this is kind of like Resident Evil, like one type of game style where the camera's locked and you're just using tank controls to get the character to where you want it to go. We're requesting a luxury helicopter. And let's just get ready to join Anahuac. Alright, so remember that the purpose of this merge is to try to get just the bull bar that's on the front of the car, which is not going to be possible, but I'm just demonstrating to show you. So the result of this merge is just going to be a Rebel with none of the extras attached to it.
Welcome on board. You're in safe hands today.
That's why I love these earlier cars. Like if you look at Wild Brick's shenanigans sheet, it's pretty much just full of mostly day one released cars. And then a lot of them are pretty interesting. There's a total of, I'd probably say 160 cars on it, but probably about 130 to, I don't know, maybe 120 just have the interior extras.
Hi. What do you need?
I mean, you know, interior extras are cool, but a lot of times people aren't even looking for those.
How do you choose between your
So
children?
for the most part, you know, I focus on the cars that just have the exterior, you know, extras 1 to 9.
No problem. I'll have your personal vehicle brought around.
Yeah, I mean, the merge itself has been... So, I mean, yeah, when it comes to good merge, you're looking for, you know, how quick the merge itself is, you know, how easy it is to get the steps for it going, and then, like, how long it lasts. I mean, luckily, for the most part, the sprint merge, in one way or another, has been around for, I don't know, like, 3 years. And while it's not the easiest it's ever been, or the quickest, it's been extremely, like, repeatable. If you don't have to do the setups over and over again, for me, that's, you know, a big part of what a good glitch is. So, like, again, it's not the best, but it's very reliable. So I don't have a problem doing it in real time. It's when some of the crazier ones with, like, you have to go to the bunker first in order for it to work. That's when I kind of get like, no, I don't want to keep doing it. So I'm like, I'm not gonna crap on the merge. Like I said, it's been with us for a long time. And then now we're gonna see the results of the Rebel. And then there we go. So now we're looking at a Rebel that has no extras on it. We were trying to see if we could get just extra number 1, the bull bar. But again, this will illustrate that it's required that you have extra number 3, that bed roll cage attached to it. So if I had the tailgate and then the fenders both visible, then yes, then I would then see the front bull bar and then the roll cage. So in a nutshell, that's kind of what the Rebel's all about. Now the Rusty Rebel is a little bit different. You would think that the Rusty Rebel would have the same amount of extras as the Clean Rebel, but as you're going to see right now, I'm going to bring it up on the spreadsheet, and then I'll change the photo so it's a little more obvious. And there we go. Let me just type in Rebel. I have all my computers in front of me, so it's hard to see everything. Was it not called the Rusty Rebel in Save Wizard? What is it called in Save Wizard? Oh, okay, so the Rusty Rebel is just called Rebel in Save Wizard, and then the clean is just called Rebel Clean. Okay, so, alright, there's the photo. And then the XL dock reflects what's there. So it does have things in common with the Rusty Rebel, but it doesn't have all the same extras. So let's get into the LSCM and take a closer look. So right off the bat right now, just by looking at the XL dock, it has 2 extras. It's in slots number 1 and 2. Remember, just because it has an extra, it doesn't mean it's always going to be in that first slot. So 1 and 2 is there. Number 1 is the bedroll cage, and number 2 is the lights on the roll cage. So unfortunately, the Rusty Rebel does not have the bull bar in the front. I think the bull bar you can apply manually, but let's just bring that into the mechanic just to see what's there.
I'm on the clock. What you want? Some wheels?
Where we got it? Alright, there it is.
I'll bring it
That's
by.
weird. Even the
I'll
game
get back
calls
to
it the
it
Rusty
then.
Rebel. I'm surprised that Save Wizard wouldn't call it that too. I guess the game files is how it's identified, so maybe that
How's it
makes
going?
sense.
See ya.
Alright, so let's bring this over and take a closer look at what you can do with the mechanic, and then what you can do with merging.
Hey, there you are.
Alright, so that makes sense. The bull bars you can just apply without even having to merge. It's kind of interesting because you would think that this would just be on the clean Rebel. Don't quite know what was going on there. But this isn't an extra, so no matter what you would click on here and merge it to something else, it wouldn't actually do anything to the receiving car. So that's there. And then if we look, it doesn't have... okay, so yeah, this is one of those cars where it's just really oddly glitched inside of the mechanic. You can actually glitch the roll cage on the car without merging it. It's a kind of a weird flick trick. I think it depends on just how you're scrolling. I think if I just go up, it's just going to appear. Yeah, so that's it right there. You can see it, but I think when you go to first option, it disappears. I believe, yeah, see, then it's weird, because then you scroll down to the second, then it's missing. It's just a very, yeah, there. Now you see it, now you don't. I don't know why that happens in that particular order. I guess that this cover, the aero bed cover, for some reason, when it starts to kind of like, you can kind of see like where it would be, it glitches on. So then just by scrolling up, it just stays on. And I guess when there's nothing there and you scroll down, nothing happens. But just by looking at it, that right there would be a combination of the roll cage with the lights on the roll cage. I think if you really mess around with the merging, and then if I found out what category these truck beds were to the donor car, I could try to see if I could glitch that portion of the roll cage onto one of these other options. Probably not, because I gotta imagine it would override it. But what I'm going to do right now is I am just going to see what just the bedroll cage looks like without the lights on. So basically, I'm going to make this without the lights on top. So let's back out and bring the Panto in to set that up. like I said, sometimes, you know, we think some of these merges are going to make something really cool, where unfortunately it's very limited, or at least when it comes to the extras. You kind of have to follow like the math more than what your gut will tell you to do. Basically, it's like A plus B equals C, and that's how merging kind of like works. Logic really doesn't play any part of it. It's all about the math. But let's return this and pull up the Panto. And then I'll call out the like red rainbow looking one.
You're through to your garage. You, need me to bring you a ride?
Was wondering when we'd see you again.
It's on the way.
What's up, love? Good to see you.
So for this one to work, all I want to do is have extra number 1 activated on the Panto, and I just want to make sure that extra number 2 is turned off. So basically, I'm going to reverse how it looks right now. And of course, I did the thing again where I pulled a car into the mechanic while I was inside of LSCM, and now of course I'm stuck because I can't hit the start menu. So let's get unglitched. And let's leave LSCM. And the only way I'm going to be able to leave LSCM now is if I get into the other car and get driven out. And then, even then, I'm not 100% sure if that's going to work. I mean, that's what's fun about the LSCM, is it's so buggy. I'm not sure if you ever saw the video where I'm just screwing around inside there, but you can do a lot of weird, fun things still inside of here. I can pretty much hard lock the game by screwing around with the career menu. And that's actually how I used to be able to merge for a while, is I would actually completely hard lock console number 2, and then the sprint would never start because of console 2 being hard locked. Before the stream ends, I can just show you that. I need a third person, but I would show you like kind of like how it would work at that point. But let's get out of here. So we can merge. Did I have the wrong person? Yes, I did, of course. Alright, so let's get pulled out of here. And then let's get driven back in, so this way I don't have to go through the whole re-glitching process. And again, right now the goal is to just make a Rusty Rebel that only has the bed roll cage on it. Because we saw that we can put the roll cage with the lights on, but I just want to, make it a little bit more complicated, and we're just going to put the roll cage on. Alright, so now that I've exited the LSCM, when I go and try to bring the Panto back to the mechanic, it should allow me to do it this time. And again, I had to force myself out because you can't hit start when you're glitched doing the merge. And then I didn't want to go through the whole going to the arena thing. So now, since we exited, we came back in, it should allow us to go right to the mechanic. Issues. And there we go.
Welcome to HSW.
So, it's fun when you want to use it to glitch, but it's annoying when you don't want it to happen. So anyway, extra number 1 is the fenders. We're going to put it back on. And then they are. And then now we just want to make sure we remove the roof. And just going to select carbon, and then we're just going to flick back and forth between 1 and 2. There we go, it's gone. So right now, extra number 2 is deactivated, and only extra number 1 is there. So let's do this merge, and then from there, if anyone wants to see anything in particular, we can take a look at that. Start the merge. And maybe I'll switch screens, or I'll call in the Yosemite Rancher. I can show you real quick the extras on this, being the glass in the windows. It's a very silly thing because you can actually have like the left driver's side glass missing, but still having the passenger side. You know, quirky little things like that. Alright, so let's just join Anahuac so we can get our helicopter going. Alrighty, and let's go get our Sparrow. Yeah, I actually wish I had Save Wizard, and then I could just kind of mine what's going on here to show you, like, instantly everything that's happening. But since I'm all about trying to do everything in-game, I just want to show you it happening in real time. And then, you know, if anyone has any questions, I can try to address it at that point. I mean, if you were speeding running this, I mean, you could probably do a merge every 5 minutes or so. But because I'm talking and I'm showing exactly what I'm doing, it takes a little bit longer, so I'm sure it's more like 10 minutes a merge. But if I wanted to do, you know, a full set of one of these cars, it would only take maybe like, you know, 25 minutes, 30 minutes. The annoying part is just keep setting up your donor each time. But, you know, like I said, if you have a set of donors you like, and then you can just get them, like, if I made like 5 Pantos exactly how I wanted them, I can just call them in and then just do the merge that way.
And relax. We'll get you there safely.
But right now, we're just making the
All
Rusty
work and no
Rebel
play? All right.
with extra number 1 only, which is the roll cage. And then we saw we can do the flick trick to get it with
Just
the lights
call
as
when you
well.
need me out again.
But I want to try to make one that's a little bit more harder to make.
Good to see you, boss.
There we go.
Hi there.
Let's go select
How can
our
I help
Rusty
you?
Rebel.
You got a nice fleet, boss. They're bringing your personal vehicle around right now.
You know, it's a shame because I really like the bed in the Rusty Rebel a lot better than the clean Rebel. I hate the rust on these cars though. I mean, other than that, I would probably drive it a lot more if this style would just be on the clean version. And then if you're trying to get the clean version in the wild, you pretty much have to go all the way up north. And then like during a certain time, it spawns. But I don't know. I like to have an account that has all the cars, so I can just call them at random. But let's go get the buzzard, and let's go see what this looks like merged now. Where'd it go? Oh, there it is. And I hit something, and I moved everything. There we go. Alright, yeah, so we're going to be making the Rusty Rebel with just the roll cage. And that's extra number 1. And I keep losing it. There we go.
Fucking kidding me!
Alright, so there it is. Like, right now, we only have that roll cage in the back. And it's up to you whether or not that was worth the effort to do it. But again, to make it, it would require merge. So I just want to save this, and then I could show you how you can either remove the roll cage in the back and keep everything else the same, or if you want to just add the lights onto it as well. So the weird thing about driving cars in the arena, I have to remember what account, but if you have the AA trailer in your MOC, you can call that directly into the car meet, and then you and your friend can just drive around in that. And that gets really crazy because basically what ends up happening is you could be, let's say, in the main area of LSCM, and your friend can be in like a private, showroom inside of there. And what's odd is the Saddler will still show up.
What can the best
in
mechanic in
both,
LS do for you?
like the public and the private area. So that would be interesting.
You have any problems? You bring
Let me
it
see
back
if
to
I
me.
can find the character that has it. I can demonstrate that. But real quick, right now we see that it has that roll bar. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to add the bull bar just to have it there. And then we'll mess around with the bed real quick. Alright, so right now I can either remove the bed bar or I could put the bed bar with lights on. If I just want to remove it, I basically only have to go down. Let's see. How do I remove it? Let me select it and then scroll up. Huh, that's interesting. Oh, there we go. All right, so yeah, I guess to remove it, all you have to do is just select, either option 4, 5, or 6, and then just scroll up, and then boom, it's gone. But now, if you want to get it back, basically just start from the bottom, select the arrow bed cover, and then scroll up twice. I don't know. Either way, you see it's an option. Again, it's another quirky thing that's within the game itself, but, it's up to you if you want to waste your time and just learn a bunch of silly things. But let's see if I can make that AA trailer thing happen. I just have to remember the account I had it on, and I'm going to try to grab that account right now. Where would that be? I'm gonna try one of these, but yeah. So again, the Rusty Rebel, it only has 2 extras, whereas the Rebel itself has 4 extras. The Rusty Rebel, the extras it doesn't have is the bull bar, but which isn't really a big deal because it's already built into the mechanic menu, so it's not really losing anything. What's bizarre is why the Clean Rebel has it missing. So that is something to take a look at. I mean, we've seen it before with other cars where they should have the same features, but for some reason one doesn't have it over the other. And I'm just quickly trying to see if I can find my account that has the AA trailer built in. But what were you doing with regular cars? Were you teleporting into it, or were you using something else? Because back in the day, I should be able to do it from here. Let me get unglitched. You used to be able to leave the Deluxo inside of the LSCM, and then what would happen is if you would teleport back into LSCM and then enter your Deluxo, you used to be able to kind of like float and ride around. But unfortunately, what ended up happening right around this last update, they actually I did something with the loading of it, and a lot of the jobs got screwed up. So let's just take a look at what's supposed to happen now. So I'll try to teleport into it, and then you're gonna see basically I'm there, but nothing is properly loading. Alright, so let's get to an account that actually has the job. The job is from. Um, oh my god, I can't remember the guy who had the job. Oh. I'll put the job in a comment at the bottom. You should still be able to add him. But now I'm like jumping back and forth between accounts and trying to remember where everything is. And let me see, is my... Alright, let's join my second character. And let's see if he has the AA trailer. But yeah, even if you're not using the merge setup to merge, you can still really screw around with what's going on inside the game. A lot of times, like if you like screw around with your friends, they're trying to start a job, the job basically freezes. It's not really anything that they're gonna like you for. But there's times where basically you get kicked out. All right, so this second character, it's not on screen, but he does have the AA trailer, so we'll ride around in LSCM. But I want to show you what the LSCM looks like now when you're trying to load into it directly. All right, so I'm going to use the teleporting Anahuac to get into it. So, oh, please tell me his name is on here. I know it was created by Forbidden Expert, but that is not the YouTuber who made it. Unfortunately, he retired from YouTubing, but he made a lot of great videos. Hopefully his name's in the description. Yeah, nah, he didn't make a description for it. But anyway, let's load into the meet, and then you'll see basically what's going on here. And of course, this is my character that has like all my friends on it, so joining Anahuac. This is where it would make sense to text Anahuac and have him towards the top, but I don't want to flood him with junk. Oh, is he offline? That's even better. Ah. Alright, so either he's resetting his Xbox, or I'm having a network issue, because his second character is available, but I don't think that's gonna... Do you know if disconnecting the controller still works? What I'll do is I'll disconnect the controller, and I'll see if it loads me back into the job. But it'll probably end up kicking me first. So anyway, what I'm doing right now is... What I'll do is I'll switch to my second account. And then this account has the AA trailer in the MOC. So this will let me bring the AA trailer directly into LSCM, and then we'll screw around with what you can do with that. So while give cards to friends is still working pretty good, this might be one of those things I would do. Just be careful about dead spots. Make sure you own the AA trailer. Don't blame me if you create one by accident. I do have a character that I purposely changed all those, like I have an Avenger, the AA trailer, like the ramp buggy. To do Beth, you need those like special vehicles saved as personal vehicles, but unfortunately most of the time, unless you're really tracking what vehicle you in that spot, you're more likely or not just to create a dead spot. So, you know, if you're gonna screw around with those type of mergings, do it on an account that's not your main account. Back in the day, if you remember the facility merges, where you had to wedge the bike in front of the console and then leave the facility the same time you jump on the bike. What I was doing was I put like all my planes on the bike racks, and that pretty much resulted in me having like 10 dead spots. So the only way for me to fix it was to crush those dead spots. So I literally had to go all the way down and grab bikes by the ramp and then pedal them all the way up to my garage in order to fix my dead spot. And that probably took me a good 6 to 7 hours in game to do that. Because if you didn't do it all at once, what would happen is those bikes became pretty much personal vehicles. And then you'd have to start all over again because you don't know for sure where you end up moving all of that. But alright, let me call in my other character and then we'll see why it's interesting to have the AA trailer in your MOC. And then let me adjust this screen so it's a little bit more fun to see what's going on. So let's turn this off, turn that off, and let's make this, we'll put that, you know what, cover up that spot right there. Okay, so the character that's in the bottom left screen has the AA trailer. So what I'm going to do right now is let me request the vehicle inside my MOC, which is the AA trailer. And unless they patched it, it's going to come in here. And like I said, it says you do not have a personal vehicle, but I know it's in there, so I'm going to select it. And then I see it's there, and there we go. So right now, I have the AA trailer in the LSCM. Now, what's really interesting is the Saddler is basically just a regular like NPC car at this point. I can get into it and I can drive it right now. So let me just show you that. And then I'll have my other guy get in the back. And we can drive around. So this is kind of, you know, just interesting and cool on its own. Let me make it a little bit smaller so you can see it. So, like I said, this is the part that's kind of cool. You know, you can push people around. You can't kill anybody. But, you know, mess around with it a little bit. Then I'll show you what's really funny to do. So, no, that was unintended. Alright, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to start a private car show. And then I'm just going to send him over here.
How's it going?
So I'll do a takeover.
Hey, sure. You can take
And
over.
what we're going to see, hopefully, is the Saddler, or at least the AA trailer, still in the takeover. And I can see from here, the Saddler's in there. And, alright, so sadly, the AA trailer is missing. But I should still be able to make that work. But now, having the first console is in a takeover. You see there's no cars around. The second console is in the actual car meet. Now, what's really funny here is the console number 1 is going to be driving, but there are no cars, so there's no physics to stop it at all. Now, what's really interesting is on this second console, you'll see what ends up happening when console number 1's driving around. Basically, it just teleports or pushes things out of the way. You know, it's fun, it's interesting. It doesn't really lead to anything in particular. But the other interesting thing I'll try to do now is I will switch the drivers. So now the console on top is going to have all the physics. And what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to now try to make the AA trailer appear in the private takeover. So let's see if I can put him in position. I'll make it a little bit smaller. And maybe we'll put it up here. But let's knock it around so this way I can try to pick it up. But then, you know, we'll take a look. You can see it's moving around. I might just return it and then call it out again. That's probably going to be easier. But I believe, if I recall it, I might keep this one. Let's see what happens. Let me return it. Oh, okay, I can't. Let's try it now. Alright, so that's unfortunate. But let's call it back in, and we'll get kind of funky with it. Again, this is inside my MOC, so that's why it's allowing me to call it in. And there it is. Does it show up here? Yes. All right. So again, it's for some bizarre reason it comes in both the private and then also in the public one. Let me see if this guy can get into the back. Yep. So in this state, unfortunately, he can't shoot or anything. But if you want to see something just stupid, I believe I can take just the AA trailer into the track. Let me see if it'll let me do that. Yes. So it'll let me do that, but I'll have the other guy get in the passenger side, the driver's side of the Saddler, and I believe he can take the Saddler into the test track. But let's bring the AA trailer in first, and then, you know, Goofy just goes right in. And then you can also use the AA trailer during the merge. I don't know what real benefit that would be, but it's an option. And then now for some, I think my first console might be bugged, because right now I do see, oh, okay, so that's odd. My first console spawned back in from basically nothing. But what I'll do is, let me switch it. I'll have the first console go into the AA trailer, and then I'll have the second console go into the track using the Saddler. Alright, so actually it won't even let me do it. But let me see if I can get him in there at least. Enter with other players. What will that do? Oh, basically nothing. Okay. Oh, okay. I don't know why that just happened. So let's see. Alright, so the AA trailer is in there. Basically can't do anything. Hopefully the Saddler will come in there as well. But I have a feeling that might be... Okay, so nothing happened. Interesting. But I still have the Saddler over there, which is cool, I guess. Let me see if I can return the AA trailer and get a second Saddler in. Oh, I see. Well, it's locked. It won't even let me in. But let me see if I can get this back in. Hey, I can exit the car meet. I wonder if he'll exit me with a Saddler. Yeah, at this point, neither character is glitched for anything. It's strictly just kind of breaking LSCM. Because I technically think one of these characters was never invited to the private meet, but yet somehow just got pulled into it. Yeah, so he's not even coming up. But let's see if the guy in the AA trailer can return and just drive the Saddler. So that's where it gets interesting, because right now there technically isn't a personal vehicle inside of the car meet, but yet this Saddler is here. So let's just take a look at it again. Let me see if I can get into it. And then at some point I'll check to see if Anahuac is working again. Yeah, so right now this isn't even anything either character can get, but let me request my personal vehicle, which is the AA trailer, to see if it will respawn another Saddler. So what ended up happening is, I guess I had to actually request it directly from the MOC, because what it ended up doing, it called out my Izzy, which was my last personal vehicle that I used outside of the Ellis car meet. So I'm going to be on a cooldown now, but let me return that, and then I'll make sure I request it directly from the MOC next time. But yeah, I mean, if you look, you know, again, the main console can see the Saddler inside the private car meet or takeover, but it's also in both areas. I mean, this isn't anything other than like visual like nonsense, but you know, again, if you go into like a full like public lobby, and you can do all sorts of crazy things inside of the LSCM, but 10 times, you know, like 9 out of 10 times, what's end up happening is you're gonna lag the game so bad, even on next gen consoles, that basically like you can't do anything, and you pretty much just like soft lock yourself inside of the car meet. But let me see how much time I have left on the cooldown. I guess I still have a couple seconds, but yeah. So what I'll try to do now is just do some more driving around, and what I want to do is basically detach the AA trailer and make it not show up inside of the private meet, and then I'm going to try to reattach it to make it reappear, but it's nothing that is like overly like useful for anything. But what's interesting right now is there is a Saddler in the car meet, but there is also the AA trailer that just respawned. So that should make another Saddler in the car meet. And I guess if you really, really wanted to, you could keep doing this to just spawn an infinite amount of Saddlers. And as long as someone's in the car meet, it'll still be there. Basically, all you're doing is just trying to crash the game at that point. Yes, it is possible to still crash the game, but because of the next generation of consoles, the memory is so much higher, it's so much harder to do. If you remember, there used to be a way, if you brought a helicopter or a plane into your facility, and then if you kept going to like to move it between spots, it would just keep spawning a new plane each time. And then what would end up happening eventually is you would have like 30 or 40 of these planes exploding inside of your facility, that it would just completely lock your game up. That's probably why they actually patched it, so you don't see vehicles that shouldn't be in certain spots anymore. I know in some areas you can still do it, but that's probably one of the reasons why it happened. I'm having a hard time detaching it. Let's see if we can force it out. But anyway, maybe I'll just jump on it. Let me see if it'll let me jump on it. Alright, so, I mean, if you take a look, you can see that he's clearly in the gunner seat, but he's invisible. So, I mean, if this could technically lead to anything. I mean, it might be because you're pulling somebody into a part of the car meet that they're not supposed to be. I mean, you might be able to create, like, if they ever hypothetically patched the glitch out or the setup via the arena, I mean, maybe it's possible that this could do something. More likely than not, it's one of those things where it's just going to start the sprint on you anyway. Basically, what you have to do is just make it such an incredible mess for the sprint to just not be able to start correctly. There is still a way that you can do that, but it will soft lock the helper, so you would still need another person to actually be a part of the sprint. So what I'm going to do is let me invite this character to the actual car meet. And then I'll show you how you can soft lock the sprint a second way. So I'm going to treat this as if it's my personal vehicle I want to bring into the sprint. It doesn't matter, you can use any car to do this, but what I'm going to do is my main character, I'm going to call out a vehicle that I want to soft lock the game with.
What you need, boss? Some wheels?
So I'll just call out the bowler.
It's on the way.
I haven't done this in a while, but back when you used to drive around the back of the car meet and pretty much drown your car. Before they found just messing around with the countdown did it, this was how I was actually merging a few cars. It just wasn't very helpful because it required 3 people and it was just kind of stupid at that point. But again, I'm mostly about looking at the stupid things. So before, if you were here, you would see that I accidentally kept soft locking myself because I was glitched at the arena and I kept bringing my car multiple times to the mechanic. And when you do that, I'll show you right now. So I just joined the mechanic. I'm going to leave the mechanic and I'm going to try to go back to the mechanic. Now, when I hit right, my game is actually going to freeze for a second. I'm going to try to show you. So I'm spinning, I'm going to hit right to go in the mechanic, and I did that. So nothing's happening right now. For some reason, the game just soft locks you. And the only way to break this soft lock is pressing start, and then backing out. And then now, as you can see again, I can move. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to soft lock the game at this point. Now, what I have to do is start a sprint. I'm going to join the sprint. And as soon as I join the sprint, I'm going to go to the career progress, and I'm just going to spam A. And again, no one right now is glitched at all. But here we go. I'm going to start it. I'm going to accept it. I'm going to hit right to enter the mechanic and press start. I'm going to go to career. I'm just going to spam, and I should just get black everything. Alright, so right now what's going to happen is basically this console is going to go on an infinite black loading screen. No matter what you do, you're basically stuck. And then this console is going to go on a infinite black loading screen that you can use Anahuac to join. But unfortunately, I don't have a third person, so I can't actually start the sprint. Yeah, so right now, if you look, the person who was sitting on the career progress, they don't even have the loading circle. This console right now is completely bricked. Not bricked, soft locked. It won't do anything. Actually, hard locked. The only way for me to get out of this is to crash the to desktop. But this one, if Anahuac is working, I can try to join him. Nope. Did it just crash? No, okay. Yeah, so I think Anahuac is still offline. I know someone told me that I think no tiers or something like that is another one I can join. But yeah, he's offline, so it's not going to work, unfortunately. But I'm just going to show you. This guy can still get out of the black loading screen. So he's going to come back down. And I guess the only thing that's odd about this is he's not in the car at all. But if I recall, this was the AA trailer, so I'm not totally shocked by that. But let me make sure that he was the one with the AA trailer. Yeah, he's the AA trailer. But now what ends up happening, wipe the tears, thank you. I knew there was another one. But I'm just going to show you that this console is completely, there's nothing I can do now. Even if I try to join his other account, it's still black loading screen. If anyone wants to mess around, I can always do this, another day. And I'm going to show you basically, you can still be in the sprint, but it'll never start. Nope, of course I didn't. Let me make the screen smaller. Yeah, so let me join him again. I'll join. Is anyone on? Yeah, I'll just join Synthwave. Nope, I can't. He's not letting people join him. And then black screen, nothing's happening. So right now this console is completely the only way I can get out of it is literally just by closing the game. And then now what would happen at this point is if I had two people with me, the sprint would actually start for those other two people. Again, way back when, the only thing that I could do for merge was basically, I could still merge doing the method I showed you. So if, for whatever reason, the arena part of this ever gets patched, I'll have a merge up, the next day. The only issue is it will require technically 3 consoles to do it. I'm not saying it takes 3 separate people to do it or just one person with 3 consoles. You need 3 accounts is a better word. So with 3 accounts, you could still do this merge. Basically, what would happen is you would still need either Wipe the Tears or Anahuac in a different target mode. You wouldn't need necessarily anyone in bad sport, but basically what would happen is the console that is pretty much soft locked is the only thing that's keeping the the arena solo merge. Yeah, good luck. Technically, I'm sure someone out there probably has it. There's a lot of very intelligent merges out there, and if they do know it, they should keep it to themselves. Until this gets fixed. I'm forgetting. I think it's Mansfield. The guy is extremely good. He was the one that I think he was a part of, or he helped discover the strip club give cards to friends. And then I remember he made a scathing video about somebody who pretty much stole it from him, and then showed how they did it incorrectly. I have a ton of respect for Mansfield UK, I think his name is. So he's very talented. But pretty much what I'm doing is I have the worst possible backup merge. I mean, I could still screw around with it if anyone wants to just play with it, just to show that it could be done. But basically, yeah. So of console 1, console 2, console 3, or if you want to call them account 1, account 2, account 3, they would all start in the same session. All 3 would join the sprint as account number 1 basically brings their car to the Howe and then returns his car back to the showroom. Then what you would do is start the sprint, and then as account number 1 is about to start the sprint, you just start the sprint, try to bring yourself to the mechanic, you'll freeze yourself, hit start, and very quickly go to the career progress and just keep hitting A, and then you'll lock account number one, and then account number one will basically not let the sprint start. So what happens now is account number two and account number three can still use target mode message to basically get back onto the map. You'll still be locked, and at this point, oh man, I'm trying to remember the other steps. I believe you can still call out the chopper to go to the CEO office. And then basically one of those accounts can start the glitch to merge the car. And then you would need the other account to then leave the session so this way the other person can still save their car. It's not pretty. I know it worked back when the captain was still how you would merge cars. I don't know if this particular method won't work because I don't know 100% if the CEO luxury helicopter will bring you to the office still. I think that was probably what was holding me up at one point on researching it. And again, this particular merge has been around for so long that there was no point to revisit it. The only way we were even looking at it was because you're bringing up, I think, driving around in the LSCM. But it was definitely a lot of fun. Like I said, that was the most fun that I had at the time, was trying to find a merge. And while I did find a merge, the other one was just so much better. And then they patched the captain, and then at that point, it pretty much immediate went from using the captain to using the CEO office. Um, so the plate style now, are you just trying to use one? Like, are you just trying to use just the plate only, or you just don't care and you just want to merge a plate to something else, Brian? Because if you're just trying to do one piece of a donor to another car, you're basically looking at the BEF buyover merge. While I did make a video about that, probably about, I don't know, maybe like a year or so ago, what ended up happening is when BEF more or less, or the neck cut got semi-patched, at that point I was like, nah, I'm just not doing it anymore. They weren't really letting you use free minutes anymore. So I didn't want to end up paying like $10 a week or whatever it was. Um, for me, like I don't make accounts, so that's a luxury that I didn't want to waste money on. It is still doable if you follow the steps in that video and you know how to Beth. It's the same process. You just got to make sure that you're saving everything properly. It's a shame too because basically when that got patched, I believe PureFed just basically didn't. He kind of like just shut down his channel, and then he let his post on Seven Sins kind of like sit there. I'm pretty sure it's been picked up since. But when he left, I kind of like, what, I really personally don't care about it anymore because he made a really good video on it and I enjoyed it. Um, but yeah, so I mean, as of right now, I really don't have too much else to cover. I can always, base chats or streams off of suggestions from people because I can keep doing different merges with extras. But at a certain point, it gets very dull and tedious. And what a lot of people want to talk about is probably how to use their magic slots with, I don't know, like unselected. And that's really not something that I focus on. I'll probably still do a couple more streams, here and there. But I just don't think the interest is there for the extras like they were earlier on. I mean, I could take a look at other things like how to use the tailgater to get the what's that stupid badge on the Kanjali and the Barrage, the Clifford Barrage, and then the Clifford tank. That's probably like the last thing I can really cover that would be interesting. Is basically the tailgater is like the ideal donor to use on arena vehicles, Amani vehicles, and basically you can spend, I don't know, like 100K in game to get about like $3 or $4 million worth of upgrades just by using the tailgater. Because I know probably the most annoying thing for a lot of people when they merge is like, they really only want, let's say, F1 wheels or a plate on another car. And let's just say that car is one of the really expensive cars, and you basically wipe out all the other upgrades just to get those two on, and you end up spending 3 or 4 million to get the rest of the upgrades on there. The tailgater will pretty much do all of that for a fraction of the cost. We've gone through it before. We were talking about how the Allergy Retro Custom was able to take the ZR arena car and basically put like the spikes on it, the the saw blades, the jumping ability. So that was kind of fun and exciting. But then we actually ended up using the tailgater, and tailgater did the same thing. So that is probably like the final thing I personally have to cover. And what I'll probably end up doing is I'll just put in a post like, "Hey guys, not really planning on anything in particular. If you want to talk about a subject, and then we can just stream about it for a while." Because at this point, I really don't know what people want to watch. I don't offer much outside of this very niche little extra thing. The only other thing I guess I can try to cover is taking like the Kanjali and using the give cards to friends to then save it and then give it back to yourself if you want to. But yeah, so I mean that's pretty much it. But let me see what you're talking about, Brian. The current BioVer merge still works, but the creator mode method. So all everything I showed in that video will still work correctly. The only problem is like I just can't visually show it anymore. So yeah, so what ends up happening is that's what I don't know about with the Beth. I don't know where that particular part of it broke. I have been told by other people that it still works, and they were trying to find links on how to do it. But that's what originally was so appealing about the netcut Beth, was it was like no matter what, it was so consistent. And then when they patched it, it got really silly at that point because I didn't want to keep chasing Beth merges because I'm not the type of person that would build an account and then try to sell it. So there are a lot of people who aren't really showing how to do that because they're probably very paranoid after the last one got patched, and then there were a whole bunch of bans happening because people were using Beth with the casino chips. I did use that myself, so I did get one of my characters banned, but that was because I was actually trying to see like how far I could push it until I did get banned. What I'll try to do, Brian, is I'll try to see if I can find somebody who's using it, and I'll ask them if they can take a look at the video I created and see if they can come up with a method that would still functionally work with it. Unfortunately, outside of a couple of people, I really don't know what the status of it is. But like I said, I'll see if I can reach out to certain people, but I'm not holding too much out for that one. If anything, check out Seven Sins. I'm sure there are probably still people talking about how to do the Beth merge. But like I said, that's something, if I could probably get, a couple of weeks worth of coverage out of. And I can show you like basically how to keep, let's say, I don't know, you have a perfect donor car, but you're just really upset because it has selected window tints. And you're like, oh man, I really just want the green tint, but I don't want to screw up everything else on the car. So that's where my method I thought was slightly better at the time than using the magic slots. I gotta be honest, I'm still not an expert on the magic slots. I know some of it like controls just like the rim color. So I mean that's great if you know how to use it. But with my method, I literally only had to take my donor car with the car that I just want to change the one thing to, and I get to keep all the paint, keep all the rims, and then just change the tint. But the reason I specifically labeled that as plates is, again, because at the time I really didn't want to focus on Beth because that really wasn't what majority of my audience was, and it turned out I think that a lot more people were watching me for that than anything else. Um, but what I could try to do is, in theory, create a more step-by-step process for that. The only problem is if I post anything like that on Seven Sins, it probably will get buried right away by other topics. And then a lot of people will probably tell me that, oh no, you can't do that, or it doesn't work anymore. But that doesn't mean it's necessarily true, because a lot of times people just don't want to use that particular method. They're like, oh, why aren't you just doing Save Wizard? But like I said, everything I've done in that video, if you recall, it was all just in-game like dumbness. The only thing I couldn't figure out was, I believe it was keeping a crew texture, but you weren't able to switch the color. I can't recall. I remember like I didn't sleep for like a night, and I just stared at the computer. I was able to do everything else except for something to do with primary paints. I think I was trying to screw around with the paint colors, and I just didn't get anywhere with that. I'm not familiar with that particular person. Um, I remember when that video came out, there was a lot of people who let me play in the background just so I can kind of like we can talk as that goes on. I don't even remember what I called it. I think it was license plate something. Well, let me just bring it up. And of course, I'm probably gonna get a music strike because that's all I've got since I stepped away and came back was a bunch of music strikes. Yeah, so if you haven't known, like I still am a monetized channel, but I literally don't make any money. I think I make like 20 cents a day from my YouTube channel, which isn't a big deal. But when I order something from like AliExpress, because I'm trying to just buy cheap equipment to keep doing this, and then it doesn't show up, it kind of sucks because I just lost pretty much donations from people that didn't go anywhere. And then I apologize because I think I left my volume up high, so I'm not sure how clear I was throughout all that. Um, I can watch myself on stream, which would be interesting. But let me just bring up that second. Give me one moment. It was called something with plates. And what sucks too is like oh, this is what it is. Switching plate styles on cars, the Biff. So I gotta be honest. Like, there's so much to like the glitching and like GTA history that the life cycle of like players, it feels like it's all new like every 6 months. So that's what gets very confusing. Is terminology gets lost over time. So I think for a while, like I didn't even know what that should be called. So I think eventually someone told me, it's like, hey, listen, it's like layering, I think was what he ended up telling me. I apologize, I don't remember the person who was informing, and he was trying to tell me a lot of information about it. And I'm like, bro, that's so over my head that I can't even tell you. So pretty much, I just reversed engineered whatever that particular glitch was. So basically, in a nutshell, I can kind of show it right here. Was it was a like a four-step process. Is you have to take your like whatever car you're using to just you're just making a donor car. That's what this video was pretty much all about. Is I wasn't trying to make a car that you can just randomly change things on, because it was very important that you were using the same car, just because you want every single category exactly the same. And what would end up happening is that the categories would kind of skip each other if nothing was changing. Let me just turn that off for a second. So basically what would happen here is in the foreground is you have just a stock LG Retro Custom. and then from that car, the second car next in line would be the one thing you want changed on your final donor. So my original donor would be that third car in line. And I think in this particular one, it was all about changing the tint because you can't really see it, but I believe that has a green tint in that second car. So all I was trying to do was just take the black tint and change it green. And because what was happening is on that first car, everything else was identical, but I think that had a clear tint. So because all I was changing was the tint, it would then go on to the next car. But like I said, it was so complicated for me at the time, and I know it really wasn't that like it was someone else had to have done it, but I just couldn't find it anywhere. And I remember just getting very like frustrated because I couldn't figure out like when I was trying to Beth merge and doing the buy over. I was using it originally to do extras because I thought that would be an interesting thing to talk about. But what ended up happening is I I kept getting the same extras, but I would get different results each time. And then that's when I realized it all came down to just changing one particular item on the same car with all the same specs. So that was what this whole video was more or less about. But I really didn't want to title it anything other than plates because I know at the time the popular thing to do was the not the auto shop, the salvage yard, was to take the cars with the new plate styles on it, and then everyone was like very like thrilled because they got all these new plate styles, but they didn't know how to flip them onto their donors, and that's why I was talking about doing just the donors here because that was like what everyone really wanted. And I remember I was getting very weird results. But pretty much what it came down to was like, yeah, it's pretty much, I think it's layering again. That was the word he went with. And it really started making sense. But the problem is, it turns into everyone was just using Save Wizard. And it just made, I guess for everyone, it was just more fun, or not more fun, just easier to just like, hey, just do me a favor, select all the boxes for a Save Wizard. And like for me, it's like that wasn't an option. So like pretty much what I was doing was just reverse engineering, how it was working with Save Wizard. I guess for me to really be able to properly explain it, because I don't think I am saying it correctly, is I actually have to go back and rewatch my own video to try to really remember what was going on. But I know it worked best if you weren't so much focusing about the final car, but was the whole point of it was to make your donor. And then I think that's why I kept using the Panto for everything. I know on this particular character, I think it's my Timex YouTube channel character, it literally is just every car, I'm sorry, it's every garage is filled with Pantos, but I think they're all black, and then each of those black Pantos has one unique feature. It came down to having the horn was like, I would have like a garage of 5 different horns, like the 4th of July horns. Then I had a garage of just all the plates. Again, these are all just on black Pantos. And then, I had, like 3 different window tints, like the clear tint, and then the green tint, and the blackout tint. And then, I was trying to do the colors, and I just couldn't figure out the colors. But if I remember correctly, I think how you do it, and if I'm wrong, like, forgive me, I just don't remember, is you had to take your original donor, so like the one that you really just want to change everything on. I believe what you needed to do was to sell that to your friend and then buy back the same thing from your friend, the same car from your friend. Make sure that both cars, everything was exactly identical, except for the one thing you wanted to change. So in this scenario, it would be the plate. So I would make sure that I had my donor had the same exact setup, and the only difference between the two was the plate. And then I then had to go back and make sure that I had a stocked version of my donor where everything was completely wiped out. And then what I would then need to do was to then merge that stock Panto with the other stock Panto that just had the license plate on it. And then during the Beth, yeah, I'm gonna just shut that off because I want to play advertisements. And then during the Beth, pretty much what would happen is it would only change what was selected differently. So basically, what would end up happening was because the two stock Pantos only had a plate change, that it's like, okay, so this plate change is what's going to get saved. And then what would happen is it would detect that the plate change was on your donor as well. But yeah, I mean, it was really silly, stupid video. Um, it had like 3,000 views, and I'm sure probably about 1,000 of them were just me rewatching it every time I was trying to learn it. Um, but yeah, like I said, until I can find somebody who knows a Beth method that would work with that better, like unfortunately, I just can't research it anymore, and I just don't have the time to mess around with it. And honestly, like again, for me, like it might seem silly, but like, oh, what's $10 a week? But $10 a week adds up, especially when like that's more than what I make in a week on YouTube. So like, I don't mind doing YouTube. It's just I can't lose money on it. And then I'm not gonna ask people, for like stupid donations for that sort of thing. But what I'm gonna do is I'll see if I can get back on Seven Sins, and if I can't find a Beth method that works, I'll see if someone can like take this particular video and see if they can apply it to make it work. But yeah, I mean that's pretty much all I really have for that. Um, but yeah, I mean there's very interesting things you could do with Beth, and that's really what killed a lot of the community is when that first patch came across. And I know it still works, but I think it has something to do like it works a lot better on PS4 or Xbox One. And I think during the Beth, you have to like go into Creator, and then you have to like go into offline, and then like while you're offline, you console lock or you lag out, then you gotta wait. Um, it just got to the point where it's so freaking tedious that I just rather focus on other things than that. But like I said, I'll reach out. I'll see if anyone's interested in helping, and then I'll post what I find on it, and I'll try to make that more of a Seven Sins post than anything else. But other than that, that's pretty much it. What I'll do is I'll make a post and I'll just basically say like, hey guys, listen, I'm not really gonna stream unless someone has a question, and then I'll just like start this stream on the premise of that question, and then we'll see where it goes from there. Because, like I said, I really don't have like a lot of ideas of what to discuss, and I unfortunately don't have a lot of time to make edited videos. I'll see if I can make one. My last video ever, to be like honest with you guys, was I was going to try to make something similar to how I was doing. Like every car so and so, like every car that worked with the quick fix extras, every car with interior. The last video I was ever gonna make was gonna be every car with extras, period. And then I was gonna show you like what donor to use to get what extra on that car, and that was probably gonna be the last one I'll ever do. That video, I'll probably stop altogether in December, because to be honest, that video is going to take probably about a month to get all of the extras merged and taken a photo of. Again, I'm going to use it just by merging. I'm not going to cheat using Save Wizard. That's why it's pretty silly. But yeah, other than that, unless something crazy comes out and like I relearn how to Beth, I really don't got anything else. But all right, guys, I appreciate everyone's time tonight. Brian, like I said, I'll try to create a post. If not, if you want to shoot me a comment on a video to remind me. My schedule is kind of crazy with work and all that, so whatever free time I have is unfortunately very limited. But like I said, I'll go on Seven Sins and I'll see what I can find, and I'll try those options because I know now it's not just NetCut apparently that could do Beth. Like apparently there was other programs, but I tried those and I got the same results. I keep getting kicked. Like the second console one goes to save, and as soon as that save file is trying to get created, it keeps kicking console two, and that was basically what the original patch was. If you find any articles or websites, feel free to, on Seven Sins, you can just contact me through there, and I can try to read through it. But yeah, I mean, unless someone makes a extremely detailed video like Pure Fred originally did, I just don't know, exactly like how to work on it from there. But all right, guys, thanks for tuning in. If anyone has any questions, like I said, feel free to leave them in the comments. I'll try to read them and get back to you. I'm mostly focusing on just the extras, but if you're having problems with merging or using the gift cards to friends, I'll try to address that. I do know that DJ Hardy said he got a copyright strike on him. I don't know if that was related to gift cards to friends. So like I might stream that and then I will delist it, or I'll talk about it in detail without actually showing it because I'm not a money glitching channel, so I don't want to risk doing anything stupid. I'm not saying that was stupid for him, but for me, it's like since that's not what my channel is based on, it would be kind of silly. But all right, guys, have a good night, and like I said, just shoot me a text if you guys have any questions or a DM. All right, have a good one.